And we all observe what
a pillar of Sri Lanka cricket who played an instrumental role as Vice President of the board when Sri Lanka secured Test status, Mr. Rajamahendran was commemorated with a minute's silence yesterday at the R. Premadasa Stadium. The Sri Lankan and Indian cricket teams observed a minute of silence before play got underway in the first T20 international in Colombo.
Well, we've had the anthems and then a minute's silence. That's in respect of the passing of Mr. R. Rajamahendran, a stalwart in Sri Lankan cricket, done human service, a former vice president and a highly respected individual. Thoughts with his family.
Messages of condolence have continued to pour in both from home and from around the world after the news of the Capital Maharaja Group's chairman, Mr. Rajendran Rajamahendran's passing broke. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was among those who issued a message of condolence. He said, R. Rajamahendran was a skilled entrepreneur whose network of businesses has contributed immensely towards the country's economy whilst supporting the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of people. The Prime Minister pointed out, as the owner of the MTV MBC media network, Mr. Rajamahendran stood for the people's right to information and was a pioneer in a new era of modernization in television and radio. He regarded R. Rajamahendran as a brilliant businessman and social worker who went above and beyond simply reporting facts to the people and paved the way for people to better their lives through life-changing initiatives like the Gammatha movement. The Prime Minister offered his condolences to Mr. Rajamahendran's wife, son Shashi Rajamahendran, his daughter, relatives, friends and everyone at the Capital Maharaja Group, including the MTV MBC media network. Former President Maithripala Sirisena also issued a message of condolence. In his message of condolence, former President Sirisena identified R. Rajamahendran as a philanthropist who embodied the true qualities of humanity through his social movements that aimed to uplift entire communities in Sri Lanka. The former president said that R. Rajamahendran was an extraordinary businessman, a bold media mogul and a devout social worker. The former president concluded his message by wishing Mr. Rajamahendran the supreme bliss of nirvana. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa expressed his shock over the demise of Mr. Rajamahendran, noting that he was a renowned son of Sri Lanka. The opposition leader pointed out that as the owner of a leading media network in the country, Mr. Rajamahendran always stood for the truth, was unbiased and steered the country's media industry towards new horizons, fearlessly overcoming all challenges before him, no matter the odds. Premadasa noted that the journey Mr. Rajamahendran and his team have embarked on amidst a myriad of challenges and obstacles, whilst remaining unfaltering in his commitment to his vision and principles, is awe-inspiring. Noting the enormity of the challenges faced by Mr. Rajamahendran and his media network as a result of fearlessly standing for the truth, Premadasa highlights that no force has been able to subdue or silence Mr. Rajamahendran or the MTV MBC media network, underscoring Mr. Rajamahendran's personification of leadership whilst being committed to the safety and well-being of his team. Former President of the Maldives and current Speaker of the Maldivian Parliament, Mohammed Nasheed, also issued a condolence message via his Twitter account. Nasheed wrote, and I quote, "He was a man who worked for harmony and who made a life out of sheer hard work. He was irrepressible, a phoenix that kept rising from the ashes." Unquote. In a message on its official Twitter account, the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka conveyed their condolences on the passing of Mr. Rajamahendran, fondly recalling their long association with him. The Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka also expressed their condolences over the passing of the chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group, Mr. R. Rajamahendran. Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena has also expressed his condolences over Mr. Rajamahendran's demise. On his Twitter account, the foreign minister said that Mr. Rajamahendran was a pioneer of electronic media who contributed immensely to the country. He added that the late chairman had rendered an immense service to Sri Lanka, its society and people. In a condolence tweet, Minister Namal Rajapaksa said, Mr. R. Rajamahendran is a truly remarkable mind and a stronghold pioneer of the media industry in the country. On his Twitter account, Justice Minister President's Counsel Mohammad Ali Sabri conveyed his condolences to Mr. Rajamahendran's family. Chief Opposition Whip, Attorney-at-Law Parliamentarian Lakshman Kiriyalla also issued an official message of condolence today, commemorating the immense service rendered to the people by Mr. Rajamahendran as a gentleman who valued democracy, truth and justice, and a media pioneer who consistently strove to foster national unity. In its condolence message today, the United National Party noted that the demise of an individual who was steadfastly committed to media freedom and bore great love for his country is an immeasurable loss to the nation. Issuing a statement, the United National Party's leader, Ranil Wickremesinghe, said that the demise of Mr. Rajendran Rajamahendran leaves a void in Sri Lanka's business and media sectors. He said that the Sirasa Media Network is the most valued accomplishment of Mr. Rajamahendran, who built one of the largest business empires in the country. Wickremesinghe added that the fact that he stood up for media freedom was the secret to his media success. The United National Party's deputy leader Ruwan Wijewardena has called Mr. Rajamahendran's passing a loss to the country, democracy and media freedom. In his message, Wijewardena said Mr. Rajamahendran was an inspirational figure who had many qualities that are rarely seen these days. He noted that Mr. Rajamahendran was a philanthropist who helped people for genuine reasons and not to gain publicity. Air Force Commander Air Marshal Sudarshana Patirana was also among those who sent their condolences over the demise of Mr. Rajamahendran. The National Movement for a Just Society said Mr. Rajamahendran was a pioneer in the culture of free media and as a person who did not succumb to any form of threats of pressure while rendering a yeoman service towards democracy in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Cricket has issued a condolence message over the passing away of Mr. R. Rajamahendran. Sri Lanka Cricket Chairman Shammi Silva had said that Mr. Rajamahendran's demise is an irreplaceable loss to Sri Lanka. In a message on his Twitter account, former Sri Lanka cricket captain Sanath Jayasuriya recalled Mr. Rajamahendran's contributions to Sri Lanka cricket during his time as Vice President of the board. Jayasuriya noted Mr. Rajamahendran's service in obtaining test status for Sri Lanka cricket while supporting many aspiring cricketers. Former Sri Lankan cricket captain Kumar Sangakkara has said he is deeply saddened by the passing away of Mr. Rajamahendran. In a tweet, Sangakkara said, and I quote, "My alma mater, Trinity, owes a great debt of gratitude to him and Mr. Gamini Disanayaka for the Asgiriya grounds," unquote. Former Sri Lanka cricket captain Mahela Jayawardena was also among those who sent in their tributes. In a tweet, Jayawardena said, Mr. Rajamahendran was an ardent cricket fan who had a passion for the game and was a person with a good heart. Former Sri Lanka cricketer Roshan Mahanama has also tweeted his condolences over the demise of Mr. Rajamahendran. Mahanama recalled Mr. Rajamahendran playing a silent role in helping Sri Lanka cricket by supporting many cricketers, including himself. In his condolence message, Sri Lanka's current bowling coach and former national cricketer Chaminda Vaas said that Mr. Rajamahendran was a wonderful and humble person. The Chief Sanganayaka of Japan, Venerable Banagalu Upatissatera, in his message of condolence, praised Mr. Rajamahendran's humanist values which guided his decisions in his social life. Identifying Mr. Rajamahendran as a pillar of his era, the Venerable Thera noted his steadfast commitment towards empowering the voiceless. Venerable Valpola Piyananda Thera, the founder of California's Dharma Vijaya Buddhist Vihara, has extended a message of condolence over the demise of Mr. R. Rajamahendran, remembering his services towards the promotion of Buddhism in the United States. The Dharma Vijaya Vihara is an institution which acts to disseminate Buddhism not only in California but the world over. The Vihara was established in 1980. Mr. Rajamahendran donated this very Buddha statue to us. All of us here in the United States clergy and devotees alike would like to extend our condolences. May he attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
පින් පමුණුවන අතරතුර උතුම් නිවන් සම්පත් ලැබේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.